A month ago, my wife gave birth to a black baby girl. We're both white, so she was forced to admit that the child was a result of a one-night stand last year. I've started divorce proceedings, although we're still living together for now. Between our two boys, aged 2 and 4, I've had paternity tests for them and they came back positive, her infant daughter and her having lost her job due to COVID. Living together as amicably as possible until the divorce is settled is an unfortunate necessity. Naturally, I have no ill will towards the baby, and I've been disgusted by some of the comments I've heard from family members, friends, co-workers and others, all who seem to be fixated on the racial angle of this. As if the most salient part of this isn't that my wife cheated, but that she cheated with a black man and that the baby is black. What really worries me is that my two sons might pick up on these narratives. They're too young to really understand what's happening now, but I'm worried that as they grow to understand the situation that they might grow to resent their half-sister for breaking up their parents' marriage. And worse, that their resentment might express itself in a racist fashion, under the influence of the aforementioned racist narratives. Any thoughts on how I should try to influence my sons away from that perspective? It probably doesn't help that we live in a suburb with very few black people and their half-sister is really the only black person. My children know.
I'll tell you what my dad did and you can use the info as you will. He invited my little brother, who was not his child, along with me to stay during the weekend. My brother wasn't the product of infidelity or anything, he's just my half-brother. My stepdad's son. But I didn't know for a while because my dad brought him along to the museums, and the water parks, and the movies, etc. Pretty much any time I was at his place. My little brother was 2, and he never complained. He loved my brother. So that's an option. You can have the baby come with your sons occasionally, make sure they're treating her okay, and be an example for his to treat their sister.
I'm no parent, but I think telling the boys to love their sister no matter what, would do the situation some good. Or at least to keep that message consistent through their upbringing.
And I've been disgusted by some of the comments I've heard from family members, friends, co-workers and others, all who seem to be fixated on the racial angle of this. As if the most salient part of this isn't that my wife cheated, but that she cheated with a black man and that the baby is black. Look these people straight in the eye and ask them if they would have been okay with your wife's cheating if she had slept with a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white man. Also, if you can at all avoid it, don't leave your kids alone with any of these people. You'll need to be there to tell them, stop talking about my kid's sister like that.
Step 1. You need to consult a lawyer in your jurisdiction to ensure you don't accidentally establish paternity, if it's not too late.
Firstly, I'm really sorry about saying this, but holy crap, this must have been so fucking awkward when the baby came out. It's like a scene from a comedy movie. The doctors, nurses must have felt so bad. Now that's over with, if you really want, just treat the child like you would any other child she had after you broke up.
Yeah, this needs to be taken care of now. Don't let your family say that shit around your children.
As someone who came from divorced and fucked up parents, as long as the kids know that it isn't their fault, you are there for them and you don't use them as a weapon between you and your ex, really happened to me. They should turn out fine.
I think just the fact that you're thinking this far down the road in the middle of a miserable life crisis means you're a good enough dad to shut that down if it ever happens. Kids are usually more forgiving and unassuming than adults, so if you don't plant those seeds, they'll likely be fine. If you're able to be positive towards the girl, which would be very big of you, even better.
I'm sorry to hear that you're going through a divorce firstly. Secondly, your children won't even bother with the fact. My oldest daughter is also darker. I met my now ex-wife already 6 months pregnant. Our second daughter never questioned the differences until 9 or 10, and all we said was my oldest had a different dad, but I was her dad, you know. And if you're worried about your racist family rubbing off their beliefs to your children, well, there is no law that says they must be a part of their lives. That's 1,000,000% up to you. Man shrugging.
Oof, my dude. Shit's rough. Right now you have a really good racist asshole detector in that young lady. Since she is likely going to face racism her entire life, I think it's your job and your ex-wife's job to make it clear any comments regarding race are going to be loudly and publicly called out. You will have to have a zero-tolerance policy for racism, and you are now going to have to clearly and constantly call it out, forever. Gotta set the example for your boys and for the little lady. That racism has no place in this family. The boys can't be influenced by racist undertones if you don't fucking tolerate racist undertones. Kids don't care about race, they learn about it from racists. So you are going to have to cut a lot of people out of your life, because you are about to learn how many closet racists you are friends and family with, and you no longer get to be friends or family with those people moving forward. The only way it's going to affect your family is if you and your ex allow it to. It will never be because they heard someone be racist, it will be because they heard someone be racist and you didn't do anything about it. That's how they will learn that. Also, I am a co-parent of a cheating ex-wife as well. Bud, it's been a decade, he will never know she cheated on me, why would he need to know that? How would your boys ever know your family was broken up, if that's not the narrative you present to them? My ex didn't cheat on my son, she cheated on me, she is a good mom, she loves the kid, so he will never need to know why we didn't stay together, it's irrelevant. All of my family knows they don't ever get to say shit, because I made it clear I am not a shit-slinging asshole. The kid comes first, and that means my ex and I are a united front, and co-parents. So no one will be saying a negative thing about my kid's mom. We had our issues and we split and the reason is no one's business. I cut out any family and friends that spoke ill of his mother. Zero tolerance. The kid should never pay a price for your wife's mistakes. If you co-parent properly there is no issues with the kid. Like I said, we split when he was 2, he is almost 11 now and he is a well-adjusted kid who knows both his parents love him, we just aren't together. He will never know she cheated, it's irrelevant. Same with your situation. When they get older will they put 2 and 2 together? Maybe, but you don't have to go into detail about it. In the end, like I said, the only way your kids will be influenced by racism is if you tolerate racism. If you only call out racist comments, and racist attitudes and show your kids that shit isn't okay, then they are never going to think it's okay. So you are gonna lose a few friends, and maybe family, and they will be racists and not worthwhile anyways. Your ex and you have to deal with shit a couple white folks usually ignore and don't deal with, and you don't get to do that anymore. Now you have to be vocal allies and call it out every time and set that example.